There are a lot more failures than there are successes. When you were going into it, did you focus only on the successes, or did you also understand that there's a big risk to this too, that there's a good chance it could fail?
Yeah, well, here's the thing, right? If you think about it in terms of just one single company or idea or product or feature, you could fail. But if you think about it in terms of building a legacy, you can't fail because I'm not going to quit. And so that was really never, yeah, that was really never a concern for me. But remember, I didn't start out with gig wage. It was a different idea, different
Hmm.
product, different team, different approach. So technically, you could say that failed, but I wasn't going to fail because I was going to figure
Mm.
out a path forward. So once I was ready and I had I used to say I need more experience before I start a company. And all I was saying was, I was building up my courage, right? Once I
Hmm.
had that courage and I was ready to take that leap, losing and failing wasn't really an option and still isn't today.
So it's not, you weren't ignoring the risk. It was just more of, you understood, look, I'm probably gonna have to take some lumps in order to get where I want to get, and I'm willing to do that.
Yeah, I mean, and my sports background helps, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you think about, like, big basketball players. So if you think about most of the NBA champions in the world, before they became NBA champions, there was that one team in the Eastern Conference or the Western Conference that they just could not beat, and they had to get over that hump.
Hmm.
5 years, 6 years, 7 years, and then boom, you become a champion. You know how to win, and then you can repeat, and you know the formula and what you need to eat and how you need to work out and what type of teammates you need and what type of plays you need. But you've got to be willing to go through something. So yeah, I knew that was going to happen, which is why I wanted to understand. Once you started studying the Silicon Valley companies, you realize how many fail, you realize how many pivot, you realize how many run out of money, you realize all of these things. Now the headlines show you the success, and that's what drew me in. But once I really started studying it, I expected these things to happen. And so for me, the reward just outweighs the risk. And
Yeah.
also, like, you have to properly frame what success is. If you think it's that one idea with that one unique feature, you may be in for a rude awakening, right? But if it's about legacy and entrepreneurship and building something impactful and special in general, I think you got a shot.
Yeah. And so walk me through to the point. Now you got to gig wage, you pivoted towards there, you saw that this would be a model that is interesting to explore. Do you remember how many times you pitched it before you got someone to believe in it?
Yeah. So what I did differently with gig wage was not pitch it. So
Right?
the first model I pitched, hundreds of investors
Mhm.
and got money and took the money and tried to build. With gig wage, I wanted to build first. And
Hmm.
so that was difficult, from a funding perspective, but I had to figure that part out. And so what we really did was we built and got something to market and got some validation. And I remember the first version of gig wage was something to be embarrassed about. Trust me. It was really slow, really expensive. It
Hmm.
was just a difficult and tough product, but it was live and it was working and we could iterate from there. And so that was really how we approached it. And once we had something built, then we went out and started asking for money, and it was much easier.